fix this a little bit here. Let me pop this up, give everybody a few minutes to get in here. I'll tell you what a day. I'm not gonna address the chat yet because people are still coming in and I gotta wait for this to happen. So now I can pop my chat out, and of course, Miss Gracie Magoo is already, she hears me talk to the computer. She thinks it's time.
For treats.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Hi, everybody. You come over here and say hi. No, you just want your ears rubbed, eh? Yes, a mummy baby. Yes, you are. She knows after this we go to bed. Yes. Okay. Just my goodness. Okay. Ow. Your nails are digging into me. Can I have a kiss? Thank you. Do you want a treat? You don't have to sit and say please. You just take your treat. Right, go lay down. She had to come in and say hello. She thinks it's all a part of the routine now. Hey, let me get my cards set up here. What, Gracie, what? My goodness. No, you've had your time. You've had your time. Okay? Alrighty. Here we go. Oh, she's not spoiled, Linda. She just knows she knows the ropes. That's all. She's not spoiled. Do you hear that, Gracie? She said you're spoiled. I gotta show you this. She's on her blankie back there. Why? Because Howie's out in the shop. Okay, give me a second here. This pack. Oh, of course she's well loved. She is a very well loved dog. Don't know if I got any usable footage on making hairbands today, but if I do, you'll have that video tomorrow. Howie's out video and whatever else he's doing on the car. Let's see that, and tonight we're going to do Soul's Journey. Oh, well, there's no spoiling. Well, if it's love and affection, then there's no spoiling, is there? It just is what it is. Love and affection. Excuse me. That's my clouds. One of these days I'm going to finish it. How's everybody doing tonight? If you want me to say hello, please. Shut this fan off here. Please say hello in the chat so that I can say hi back. Here we go. Oops. We're going to smudge with some sage incense. Ooh, ouch. Okay. Stephanie, okay, I'm gonna pop out the list here. All right. Let's pop out the participants list. Aloha, Seashell, my love. Carol McKinney, Katrina Babe. Now they're shooting over there, and they shouldn't be shooting at this time of night with the sun going down. Celeste, Connie Watts, Becky, Jackie Oak, Jill V, FYI, Candy, Kathy Ponder, I'm not making fun of you, honey. Linda Bop. Lori M. Minnesota farmer's wife. Charlene Weber. Stephanie Alexander. And I think that's everybody. Okay, let's take this back over to live chat. And how's your day? Hey, Natalie. Hi. Serenity. Hi, sweetheart. It's good to see you. We haven't seen you in here in a long time. Pam, how are you, darling? So what's everybody been up to? I've been really busy today. I made some headbands. They're kind of crude. I don't mean crude and rude. I mean crude in that they're not perfectly done, but I had some fun and we did it on live stream for our Half Acre Homestead. If I got enough good footage, I will do a video for Life with the Wolfies. Well, thank you, Kathy. Just tucked our grandson into bed. Oh, I didn't get to see my Bubba today. He was finally having a nap for his poor beleaguered mama. Hi, Tina. How are you, darling? So I'm going to go behind the fan for a minute, and then I'm going to pull a card for the room. Okay? My poor old fans are breaking down. Hang on a second. I have to do some math here. Hang on a second, guys. Oof. Oh, that's not good. Okay. Hey! Hi, Mary Beth. How are you, darling? Now, here we go. I'm going to pull a Universe Has Your Back. And I don't know who needs to hear this. Ow, my hand. I'm in a lot of pain. And I want to say it's a fibro flare, but it's not a fibro flare. It's just this. Another gunshot. They shouldn't be shooting at this time of night. The weather. It keeps, like, I wake up in the morning and it's sunny, and then all afternoon it's overcast, and it's supposed to rain like a son of a bee this weekend. Hey, Ninja Clan Kathy, how are you, sweetheart? Simply Jessica, hello, darling. Whoops. Okay. I don't know who needs to hear this, but energy flows where my intention goes. Do you know what that means? That means, I'm glad to hear it, Mary Beth. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, we all need rain. Actually, we're getting rain. We've been getting rain. I don't know what they're talking about with all these fires, but everyone says they're going they're over in the States. And it's like, I don't see any fires, right? So energy flows where my intention goes. What does that mean? It means what we've talked about all along. Wherever you put your emotional and mental energy, spiritual energy, that's like, if say I went to a funeral. Okay, let's just say this was something that came into my head. And it was somebody I really, really loved. And the people showed up at the funeral that I wouldn't have anything to do with. Energy goes where your intention flows. So if I have all these negative feelings about those people, right? And they came and approached me, I have two choices.
I have the choice to be polite, make polite conversation and walk away, or I have the choice to go, I don't even know you, and turn around and walk away. Now, which do you think is going to get your point across more? Because if you just say, I have nothing to say to you, I never want to see you again, and you walk away, that is throwing them a ball of negativity. And even if you never see them again, they're going to have negativity. Negativity is going to be flowing towards you because that's the intention you set forth, was the negative intention, correct? Oh, good, Pam. I'm glad to hear it. I don't understand the smokiness. I really don't. Apparently, I got wildfires going all over Canada, and I've had 2 days where I saw an orange moon and a hazy day where my throat got a little scratchy, and I was sneezy for the next day. But other than that, hey, Mama Dukes. So if that person comes towards me and I make polite conversation, and whatever the case, and they tell me they love me, whatever, I love you too, because I do. But then, I walk away. Why? Because they know they did me wrong, right? This is just like a family function. Everybody's showing up, okay? It doesn't have to be a funeral. It could be a wedding. They know they did me wrong. They know they did a lot of people wrong. And me being polite to them and then saying, okay, take care, God bless, love you, and walking away, I have made sure my side of the street is clean, and they can do with that whatever they want, right? But I haven't stirred up a hornet's nest. They're going to be left sucking their guilt, which is milky looking sky in India. Well, let's not forget the chemtrails. Like, seriously, right? So my energy goes where intention flows. So if you see somebody walking towards you that's spoiling for a fight, you have the intent. If you have the intention of greeting it with a fight, it's just going to blow. It's going to throw fire on it, or gas on the fire, right? But if you handle it as an adult, let them know, let them know that they've done you wrong, but you let them know that you are polite and that's it, right? I need to harvest my spinach, but it's been raining the last 2 days. Well, my spinach and my lettuce are just starting to look pretty. And I'm hoping, right? I may have seen some carrots in the other bed, so I haven't decided whether I'm going to dig it up and plant baby bok choy. But remember me bitching because Howie grabbed the 2 pots I was going to plant carrots in, and he used them to plant medicinal plants in the greenhouse? Well, one turned out to be a male, and he set it outside, and I did a step further, and I yanked it out of the pot and ripped it up and threw it away, because we can't have that infecting my medical plants. Or pollinating or fertilizing my feminine plants. So thank you, Mary Beth. I feel like you're my sister, only I like you better. Well, we all say that, right? The truth is yeah, we're all related. There's only one race. The human race. So sooner or later, we're going to find a family connection. It's just that simple, right? So I'm going to take that pot, and I haven't decided whether I'm going to put spinach in it or baby bok choy in it, or plant more carrots. Right? I'm craving baby bok choy. I love steamed baby bok choy with stir-fried, meat and veg over rice or something. Baby bok choy. I'm a cabbage junkie. I can eat raw cabbage. I looked up all these recipes for coleslaw, canning coleslaw, and it all seems pretty standard. Except that my printer that I spent a small fortune on my tank printer, my Canon tank printer, all of the ink tanks are half full and it's not printing. It's just coming out blank. And I'm wondering, I have to look up how to clean the ink heads on that. I mean, you know what? I mean, that's why I've always said it's my YouTube family. Hey, Rosie, how you doing, sweetheart? How you doing? How are those towers you made from the 5-gallon water jugs? They're doing great. I was just saying, I went out, watered them today. I may have to put the lettuce, pull it back out of the direct sunlight. But the spinach is like, hey! And it's got a little hat of oregano starting from the 1870s homestead. Really? Okay. I saved one on Google Documents because it calls for 2 cups of sugar in the syrup, and they only use 3/4 of a cup. So I think I'm gonna follow their thing with the less sugar. Because seriously, who needs that much sugar? Especially if you want to eat it right out of the jar or if you want to strain it and put mayonnaise on it, right? The 1870s homestead. Really? Natalie. What do you mean? You just okay, Rosie? What's going on? Autumn Gypsy or Natalie. 18 plants. Of 18 plants, 3 got dumped over. Thank you, puppies. And 3 are male, so there are still 12 females are in the ground. Yeah, that's why we grow ours in the greenhouse. Because it's so legal here that, people grow stuff all the time and they don't bother. A lot of times they don't bother checking whether it's male or female until it's too late. And it, I can't have any plants like 5 acres away. That, I just got to keep my plants fairly contained, right? So, there's that. I go outside every morning and, I told you I got a rooster, eh? I got Steffi's rooster. I'm doing okay. I have to make more jelly for Saturday. Well, don't kill yourself, okay? I use a Q-tip and rubbing alcohol to clean the printer heads. I don't even know where the printer heads are, Mary Beth. I don't even know where the printer heads are. So I'm just going to have to look, right? Yeah, it sucks. We've got hemp growing a couple of miles away. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. But if they do pollinate it, you just make sure you don't let it go to seed. And then you take those buds, like we're talking, back in the day when they'd say, oh, it's Sensimillion. You know what Sensimillion was? Feminized pot. That's all it was, right? Female flowers, right? But I mean, back in the day, you get seeds, you get this, you get everything in there, crack schnapple, and I'm popping in there. But, if for any reason it gets cross-pollinated with hemp, you'll get CBD. You'll get a pot that's 50% pot and 50% CBD, because that's where your CBD comes from, is from hemp. Anyway, I would love it if you did a yogurt making video. I use raw milk too. Well, I don't have raw milk right now, but I'll be getting some. And yeah, I'm going to make yogurt. I'm going to make a yogurt video. So burn holes in your shirt from popping. Oh, and the stench and the flavor of that oily taste of a seed getting in there. I pace myself with jelly, and God always provides when I make my jelly. Have you done violet jelly? Because I have wild violets, I think. They're like a creeper. Hang on, let me just look and see if my Let's see if maybe there. Yeah, that's what those are. And they're nuts. They go everywhere. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. I'll have to look it up. But I have these creeping hey Angie. I have this creeping, and they look like violets. They're little like almost round leaves, these tiny purple flowers, and they just go nuts. They grow everywhere. They're taking over everything. I'm going to have to look them up and find out if they're edible, because I'd like to make some violet jelly. Really? Huh. Are you going to make, hey, MJW? I know that's from my garden. Nancy planted me a couple of tubers, and every year I get a couple of them, but this year they just spread like they'd cover the area of a laundry basket now. So that's kind of what's going on with them. I'm going to pull another card because I'm feeling somebody in here is needing to hear something, and you don't have to acknowledge. Whoa! If you don't hear it, or if you, okay. All right. Now we have, I don't know who needs to hear this. It could be 3 different people, but the first card is contract, and it's upside down. Now that means somebody's struggling in a contract that they have. Somebody has a contract, and they're so close to it being fulfilled. They just have to hang in there. They don't think they're ever going to see the end of it. I think it's like a bill or a mortgage or a debt of some kind. And they feel like it's never going to end, but you have to look at it. It's going to end because you got blossoming abundance coming. Okay. And this is upright. You have blossoming abundance coming that isn't going to, it's not like the lottery or anything, but you're going to get an unexpected kind of blessing that comes, and you're going to feel like it might as well be the lottery, because that's how it's going to make you feel, with relief. So you have blossoming abundance coming, and the door to value. Now this is wild because we've got the contract that you're so worried about, but blossoming abundance is right around the corner, and that all hinges on how you look at the door to value, right? Remember, I read these intuitively, not as they were designed to be read. The door to value is opening, and you got lots of money on this side, but gold on the other side. And what it's saying is, what I'm getting from this is yes, you have some abundance coming, but use it wisely, because it will open the doors to the gold. Does that make sense? So the contract is almost up. You're going to have more money coming in, but it's how you treat that money that decides whether it's just enough or it's abundance. Does that make sense? Okay. Hey, Ann Johnson, how are you? Linda Willitson, hey, Gypsy Mama, hey, darling. Wait a minute. Is Jessie there, Angie? Where's Angie? Oh, Jessie is with you. Hey, Jessie. How are you, sweetheart? I got to tell you a story about the day Jessie was born. We were living in Sunshine Homes. Howie called it Stalag 13. It was all brand new when we moved in, Ange? It was all brand new built. But because it was geared to income housing, it quickly went downhill. They had, we had a hallway that we could open the windows, but the kids would just pop the screens out. Forget having a door where you had to buzz in. The kids would just pop all the screens out and open all the windows, and they'd come in and out of the windows. It was awful. But I'll tell you, Angie was pregnant with Jesse. Hey, Jane, how are you, sweetheart? And Angie is like, had babies like spitting out watermelon seeds. I kid you not. Okay. And the doctor, the Angie said, "Oh yeah, we got you." Well, I said, "Look, if you wait until your water breaks or till you're in pain to go to the hospital, you may not make it." So I said, "You make sure you have a sterile turkey baster, a nose thing, clean string, and sharp scissors. And you make that you sterilize all that stuff and you keep it in a bag, in a plastic bag, because if you go into labor, I lived right across the playground. I said, you go into labor, you phone me before you phone the ambulance, okay? Because they may not make it. Your little grandbaby is adorable. Oh, I know, isn't he? Isn't he? He just twinkles, and he gets. Oh well, thank you, Mary Beth. I gotta put my fan back on. So she's getting around the time of her pregnancy or her delivery, and I'm up one morning, and was it a Saturday, Ange? Was Jesse born on a Saturday? Because I'm up. I'm up. Our phones were still attached to cords on the wall back then, right? You had to have a phone in every room. One upstairs, one in the kitchen, one in the living room. And I get this phone call. I don't know if I was babysitting, but I was up. It was like 7:30 in the morning or something, right? And it's Angie. And I go, "Are you in labor?" And she said, "Oh, no, Bev, I've had the baby." I said, "Where are you?" "I'm in the hospital." I said, "What do you mean you're in the..." She said, "I'm standing in the hospital at the payphone. I had the baby." Like, when? She said, "About an hour ago." So I just about crapped a ring around myself. I said, "Seriously, Angie, holy crap." She said, "Oh, yeah." She had 2 children at home, toddlers, really. And they were sick. So she's like, "Oh, no, I got to go home. I got to go home. The kids are sick." I said, "What's your husband going to do?" She said, "Bev, forget it, Bev. I got to go home." So she left the hospital. I guess Rick picked her up, or her husband picked her up. Left the hospital, stopped to do some shopping, and went home to her children. Well, and then Rick went out and played baseball. I'm like, well, you got to cut. This is somebody who is, C-sections, horrible labor, no spitting at you. First push I was ever going to do for Arthur, I said to the doctor, "Okay, get out your catcher's mitt." Wasn't happening. Wasn't happening. As a matter of fact, that push was so hard that I saw a vein go right up my forehead. And my family that was sitting in the waiting room, my eldest brother he heard a grunt, and he went, "That's Bev." Hey. Hey, Mary Lindsay, how are you? Did I tell it right, Angie? Rick went out, you came out, you went shopping, you had a baby, went shopping, went home to look after your children while your husband went out and played baseball. All in 12 hours, like. Holy crap. How are you, Mary? So, Jesse, that's how I remember you coming into the world. I don't remember Kyla coming into the world. I don't remember Nessie coming into the world. I don't remember Marshall coming into the world, although I did hold him when he was like a newborn. Thick thatch of black hair on his head. But I remember you being born, Jesse. I met your brother. Yeah, because he was working for Radio Shack back then. Hey, Lynn, how are you, darling? You had a C-section with all of yours, was out of the hospital working 2 days, and the out shopping before I got home. Oh my God, not me, man. I had Arthur on a Tuesday. It was a Tuesday. He was born at 3:58 a.m. And when he first came out and cried, I don't even remember because I was so out of it because I'd been in labor for 2 days and they had on me on all kinds of epidurals and shit. I guess my brother looked at his watch and his watch was not in sync with the hospital because they called it 3:58. But his watch said 3:57. He said she should call him Magnum. Head coming out like a party hat. But I had him on a Tuesday. And I was in the hospital for a full 7 to 8 days. Then when I had, and they had a nursery back then. They had a nursery. They don't do that anymore. I had Briar, and I'm still blinking at the drugs, and I got this doctor sitting at the end of my bed saying, "Oh, I think you're well enough to look after your child. We're going to bring him into the room with you." And I'm going, "What? 19 staples right up my belly, and you're going to give me a 9-pound baby to lift?" Right? But then he turned out to have jaundice, a bit of jaundice. Yeah, okay, he had jaundice. Looked like he was dipped in, concentrated orange juice. That's what Briar looked like. Somebody had dipped him in concentrated orange juice. And so they kept coming and taking a little razor and cutting his heel, and he'd squeal and cry for a second and then go back to sleep. I said, "You got to do that?" Well, they said it hurts less than like a poke, right? I said, "Yeah, but why are you doing it?" "Well, we just want to see how his, so the doctor came in because I made a stink about them cutting him, right? And so the doctor came in and he said, "Well, he's got jaundice and we are watching his blood. We got to test his blood to see whether or not he's throwing it off or not." I said, "Well, can't you give him something?" He said, "Well, we could put him under ultraviolet light and that would help." And I said, "Is there any side effects to that?" He said, "Not if his eyes are properly covered." I said, Then get the ultraviolet light thing in here, man. Don't be sticking razor blades on my baby's heel. So they brought my fat little porker in after Daddy had taken him. The day after he was born, Howie came in and he said, "Can you walk?" And I said, "Yeah," like to the bathroom, like get out of the bed, take 3 steps into the bathroom, and then it took me a lot to get back in. And he said, and he goes, "Well, let's go for a walk down the hall." I said, "Oh no, I can't walk like that. Forget about it, right?" And so he picked up Briar and he said, "Let's go look at all the small babies." But what he didn't realize, that Briar, being 9 pounds 3, was the smallest baby born that night. There was one that went up to 11 pounds, right? But once they put him in the ultraviolet light, they had taped cotton over his eyes so that when I would bring him out, they put little tapes on the side of his head so that I could just peel them off the tape without peeling them off his eyes. Poor baby. Poor baby. He's just, he's cross-eyed. I'm telling you. Well, yeah, that's the same thing, ultraviolet light, right? So he was in like an incubator with ultraviolet light for a couple of days. Yeah, they were big babies. Arthur was 7 pounds 14, and he was early, like by a week. And Briar was born on the due date, right on the due date. And he was 9 pounds 3. Mind you, Howie was 9'6", and I was 8'15". So I was just an ounce shy of 9 pounds myself, right? I was sent home the same day my son was born 35 years ago. No, not me. I had Briar on a Saturday night at 10:17 p.m. and on a Saturday night. And I went home on Friday. They wanted me to stay in an extra day, and I said, I'm going home. So, oh, Joe! Before Cackle Baby starts for our... Okay, wait a second. Joe, are you still in the hospital? Please tell me, because I didn't see you come in. Hey, Kel Storm, how are you, darling? Are you still in the hospital, Joe? Let me know what's going on, okay? Get some rest, whether you're in the hospital or not. You've had a rough 2 years. But no, they brought Briar right into the room. Brought Briar. I changed his balm. I fed him everything. 7 pounds 6 ounce and 6 pounds 8 ounce. Wow. Surgery tomorrow. So you haven't told, can you, is there any way you can send me a little note saying what's going on? But we will keep you in our prayers, okay, honey? You know we'll keep you in our prayers. And I hope Scott's holding up, right? So is it a knot? Just a yes or no. Is it a knot or an obstruction? Had trouble with my computer. I'm back. Hey, Linda. Okay, Joe. All right. Well, we'll be with you. We will be with you tomorrow for sure. Hi, Timothy. Oh my goodness. Oh. What, Gracie? What are you barking at? God. What is she barking? Howie! She's barking at. There may not be any races this weekend because being a rocky day mental health wise, but tomorrow is another day. Blessings to Joe, thinking of you tomorrow. Well, I mean, we all have those days, right? We all have those days. How? What's Gracie barking at? Maybe somebody is out there. Well, I had my shower yesterday. Howie says he's going to get everything ready to go tomorrow night. And because it always threatens rain when we go to the track. But he's going to wait. And if it's raining Friday or looks like rain, he's going to wait until Saturday. And if it's raining Saturday morning, he's just going to stay home. Yeah, I have my swimming pool. Absolutely have it. The heater doesn't work anymore. Gonna have to find a way of getting a new heater, but I've been in it once because it's been quite cool here. And it's hey, Howie! Never mind, it's too dark. I just got to get the downspout so that I can run the downspout into the pool so that the water gets evaporated, right? We just let it flow back in with rainwater. There's no heater on the pool. The heat pump, which was the most expensive part of this pool, got water in it somehow and didn't. Hey, Edie! How's it going, sweetheart? Hi! Wildcraft. Hey, Foxy lady. Foxy lady. I don't even know if you're a lady, so. FYI. Hey, Paula! When we're young, it isn't anything that can stop us except stuff like endometriosis. Had it. My kiddos were 2 and 4, so I was done. And the best thing compared to fighting a losing battle, yeah. Once I figured out where they were coming from, I had them tie a knot in it. Howie was so relieved because they told me never to try vaginal delivery after Arthur, and I tried with Briar. But before we started, I said to the doctor, I said, if I have to have a C-section, I want you to tie my tubes while you're in there. And he goes, oh, let's not talk about that right now. I said, no, we're going to talk about it now, because if we wait until I'm screaming in pain and calling my husband horrible names, you are not going to believe me when I say, tie my tubes. So he looked at Howie and said, how do you feel about that? He said, get her done. He said, we had a deal. If she gets a C-section, you tie her tubes. If she pops it vaginally, I have to get snipped. So listen to her, right? Yeah, you just got to carry on and keep positive. That's it. That's true. But what's going on, sweetheart? You know, let's do a mental health checkup. What's going on with you? Ow, I got an itch down my back. You know, sometimes if things are really not going well, I know I've said it before and I know I harp on it and I know it sounds simple and stupid, but counting your blessings is the thing to do. You think about everything you have, even if you have to write it down so you can look at it, right? Roof over my head, blankets on my bed, someone who loves me. The bills are paid, right? You know, you got food in the fridge. These are all things that we have to, you know, we have to be thankful for. It's really hard to be down, but I know it's really hard to be down when you're counting your blessings, but I know what it feels like to lay in bed and not even want to pull the covers off your head. You just lay there, right? But sometimes it starts with just getting up and making your bed. I don't make my bed very well, but I get up when I get up, I tidy it. Why? Because if I don't, I might want to crawl back into it. Did you get the message I was coming to visit? You're coming to visit tomorrow? Oh, Angie, that's awesome. That's awesome. Attitude of gratitude gets me through so much. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh. Sometimes I think I got Morgellons, you know, where it's like things are crawling on me, but it's not. It's just I've got dry skin right now. It's starting to come back. Oh, that's awesome. So is Chris bringing you? I'll call you around 2. Okay. All right. Awesome. Bring Parmesan cheese. If you still have some. Is Jesse coming too? That'd be awesome. Be awesome to see you guys. Yay! I'm so happy. I haven't seen Angie, well, since we were at her place last, but I have your box of stuff and I have your mixer for your mom. So yes, that's awesome. Both me and my partner have triggers and today was a doozy. I just have to count my blessings. He's a get up in the morning type and I really struggle some mornings, so it frustrates him and then triggered him. Doctors, Jesse will go home from there. Okay. You know what? You can't be responsible for your partner's feelings. He may get frustrated. Your partner may get frustrated. But, you know, it takes time. It takes time. There are times when Howie knows there's absolutely nothing he can do with me. So he just tells me, do what you need to do. Which means, like, if I need to drop work for the day and just call the midwife and sew or, you know, medicate and read a book. You know what I mean? We are meeting Chris and Carlton Place. Okay, well, you know what? Chris is going to go, wow. Because the last time he was here, we didn't have the addition or anything. Right? So that's awesome. Yay! So, I mean, sometimes just getting out of bed is an act of faith. Every morning when I get out of bed, okay, my bed stays messy when I get up and like Howie stayed in last night. And it's a good thing because the power went out. But we just had our opes and we put it on the bedside table and we plugged in my bedside lamp and we plugged in our phones and it was still at 70% this morning. So, but when I get up and make him breakfast and lunch, which was really nice, I haven't done it in a couple of weeks, made him pancakes. He, I go back to bed after he leaves, right? I go back to bed. But when I wake up 3 or 4 hours later, right, I get up. Gracie it's like, okay, you gotta go pee, right? And when she gets off the bed, because she sleeps in between my blankets on my right side, up against my bum. She cannot sleep under my blankets with me because she's too hot. Angie is in some of my videos, yes. Well, I'm supposed to be having a 2,000-watt system showing up. But they said they're sending me the solar panel and the 2,000-watt system, but the solar panel they sent me is only 100. And even the Bluetti has a 200-watt solar panel, right? So how can a 100-watt solar panel charge up a 2,000-watt system? But if it works and they're bringing it, or it's coming, then Arthur and Mel are getting my 1,000-watt OPE system. Because guess what? The solar panels from the Bluetti have the same connection as the solar panel for the one that we're getting. So we're going to give the kids the solar panel and the OPEs as a housewarming gift. So we are sorting it. Okay. We're sorting it out. It does take time, Bev. So you're so right. Thanks, Bev. He isn't a bad guy, just had a bad life and starting to see the light for the first time in his 28 years, so needs support. Just don't forget, Kel, you need support too. It is a definitely. Yes, you're always going to be, sometimes it's like I've explained it before. Howie and I work in the harness side by side. Sometimes he's pulling more. Most of the times he's pulling more than me. But like when he had his heart attack, I did more, right? But most of the time we're pulling in tandem. That took 25 years to accomplish. 25 years together to accomplish that. We're going to be 30 years married at the end of July. And on July 4th, we'll be 33 years since we jumped the broom. So, how old was I when I started reading cards? I never really read cards. I read tarot cards for a while, but I don't like tarot cards anymore. They're not, I was good at it, but it wasn't my cup of tea. Let's just put it that way. I like oracle cards because I can read them intuitively. I have no idea how old I was. I just know I started coming into my gifts when I was in my early 30s. I've always been gifted, okay? But I never actually paid attention to it until I was in my early 30s. And then I set it aside for a while so that I could mature more spiritually, mentally, and emotionally before I started entering the spirit realm, asking of the spirit realm, right? It takes, I don't recommend anybody picking up any deck of tarot cards and reading an instruction booklet and going from there. It's not something everybody can do. It really isn't. Even if you read the book, it's not something everybody can do. But it's kind of like playing with a Ouija board, tarot cards. Don't even start, Angie. Don't even start. Ouija boards are not a game. You understand? They marketed them as a game, but they're called a spirit board for a reason. And if you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't know how to shield yourself or protect yourself, you can open a lot of doors that you might not be able to shut. Right? So I no longer do tarot cards. I was good at it, but I took a sabbatical. Well, how old am I now? 59. So for about 18 years, I did not work with my gifts. I had to get more cemented in a place with the creator. A good, safe place with the creator in my life. Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in a good place. And I just started this up with the Oracle cards, what, the last 3 years, Angie? And I started at first reading them with the instruction books. They come with these books that tell you all about the cards. But I was clunky at it at first. And I was reading them and I was clunky at it because I was following the books. And although I was getting it right, it didn't feel right. It felt like I was just, you know, when you get a parcel from Amazon and the box comes and you open it and there's another box inside. That's what it felt like. It felt like when I was reading with the book, I was opening the box, but I had to go deeper, right? So I put the books away and I trusted my connection with Creator, and I trusted my spiritual strength and my emotional and mental strength, and apparently I do pretty good. Played with a Ouija board as a child, won't touch them ever again. It's been probably 30 years now, and I remember it like it yesterday. Well, we had one going once that you don't even have to have a spirit board. You can make one with Scrabble letters and stuff, right? There's different ways you can do that. I don't recommend it. It's not a game. It's not a game. And the last time I touched a Ouija board, no one was talking to me. So they probably just wanted to stay clear of me. Hey, Misty, how are you, darling? A higher power can use your gifts, and you need strength to fight the darkness. Well, the whole point about the darkness is, right, is I shared a TikTok on Gab. I'm going to tell you about this while I put my cards away. Well, I'm going to leave the soul's journey out for our final card of the night. I shared a TikTok on Gab, and it was just a small video, but it showed enough that it was horrifying. The thing is I had seen that video before on a larger venue, and I knew the truth, and it made me sick to my stomach, but I shared it on Facebook and said, look, people, this is, if you can imagine all the imaginable horrors, think of the worst possible thing you could think of witnessing in your lifetime, and understand that happens. We just don't pull that shit out of nowhere. We are very aware on a cellular level, and on a metaphysical level, and on a spiritual level. And when I say aware, okay, you can't think of something that you've never seen before. You can't think of something that you've never heard about before. Okay? Only God can create from absolute, the void of nothingness. Only God can create with no palette. Right? You think about this for a second. You're blind, deaf, and floating in a bubble of amniotic fluid. Totally, totally eyes closed. You know. Now you create a rose. Create a rose with the thorns to protect it, and the colors so vibrant and the scent so beautiful. You create that from a state of nothingness. That's our creator. That's why I love to call him the creator. All my beans are starting to come up. So my point is, when I say a rose, you get an image in your mind, don't you? Because we've all seen a rose. We've all pricked well, most of us have pricked our thumbs on the thorn. We've all seen them in different colors, and rugosa roses that are like a shrub, and then there's tea roses, and there's long stem roses, and they've all been, tampered with, obviously. The prettiest smelling roses are the ones that grow wild along the sides of the road here, which will be soon. They're very pink. They come out with 4 petals, but oh, the perfume. My point is there is a lot of horrendous things that go on in the world, things you don't even want to try and think about. All right? And when I shared that video on Facebook, they put me in jail. So when I found it again on TikTok, I shared it on Gab. And it's just snippets, right? But the truth is all we have is fear and love. We know this. Those are the 2 real emotions. The only 2 true emotions are fear and love. Right? That is really hard. It's easy to pray for and love on people that you care about. It gets a little more difficult with people that do things to children and all that stuff. Okay? It's really difficult to pray for them, but we must. Why? Because if we don't, if we sit in our self-righteous anger and say they do not deserve my prayers, then you are just feeding that negative energy, and it is growing. So we have to remove all of the negativity and all of the judgment before we can pray for somebody. We cannot judge. Remember, we only have the right to judge ourselves. Like if somebody does something like somebody's walking down my road too, somebody's walking down my road with their kid, and the person's yelling at their kid, and all of a sudden a car comes barreling down the road, and the parent just throws the kid in front of the car. Kid dies. You witness that. And you want to retaliate with every fiber of your being. But you got to love that person. You got to love them enough that if you can't pray for them, the best you can do is give them to God to sort out. Because we're only human. But you still have to love them enough to hand them over. And don't judge, because you have no idea. That person may have had an epileptic fit. That person may have, maybe bipolar, or maybe schizophrenic. We don't know. Maybe that person didn't even realize they did it. We can't judge. The only people we can judge is ourselves. The moment you judge somebody else, you're taking the eye off of yourself. You are leaving the door open in your soul for mischief because you're too busy judging somebody else. The best you can do is step in where you can help. And when everything's over, you pray. You pray for understanding. And if you don't want to understand, then you pray and you say, God, you take this from me because I wanted to kill that person. But what good would that have done? You're not doing them any good. You're not doing the child's soul any good. You're not doing yourself any good. So you have to call the police, call the ambulance or whatever, and you go and you get this person and you look in their eyes and you hold them if they'll let you. Because you have no idea that what is in them that has made them, that driven them to that. They may not even have control. They could be possessed. You don't know. So if you can't do anything, give them to God and pray for the negative feelings and judgment that you feel to be lifted from you. Because we all know. Corey, thank you for... Because we all know that the only judge is God. And I'll tell you something, I've heard he's forgiven a lot of things from a lot of people. Things I could never be able to forgive. But you got to forgive yourself for your reaction, your negative reaction, and then you got to see where you can help. And if you can't help, then you got to pray. And if you can't pray with a full heart, then you give them to God. All of these things, because the moment we turn our heart away from the most loving thing to do next, and we stand in judgment, even for a second, we are letting negativity and self-righteous anger flood our soul. And it's not a good thing. It's not. Corey, yes, it came. Did you not see the live stream today? My only problem is I can't get it to tilt forward enough to shine down, because people are saying, I want to see what you're doing. Right? Whereas, so I'm going to have to fiddle with it and see how I can make it work better. But it's a beautiful tripod, Corey. Thank you so very much. What is... See, I feel like I got things crawling on my toes and there's nothing there. So anyway, we've been here for an hour. And I got to say this. Oh, by the way, I'm not a minister. I found out that I could not perform marriages because when I signed up on the USA site. So then I realized, so I went and I checked. Yes, they have a Canadian website. So I asked them, I said, well, I already did this, but, you know, is this legal in Canada? And they said, even if you can fill out the site and everything, but, you know, you wouldn't be able to perform marriages or anything like that. It's like, oh, right? So, no, I'm not a minister. I thought I was. I guess I could still be a minister. I just can't perform marriages and whatever. My whole point is if you're afraid, where's your faith? Because if you are living your life in faith, there's no room for fear. It's like trying to split a coin, right? It's not a bummer. I can still be a minister of faith. That's all it is just we're talking faith, right? So, oh, and this card flipped right over in my hand as I was shuffling. Forgiveness. I acknowledge, wow. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. Let me say this again. forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. Thank you. Well, you know, who knows, right? Thank you, Kathy. So, and the card as I go to put these away, the bottom card is peace. I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. You can't be at peace when you're, you know, when you're blocking the flow of love. All right, folks. Now, a few people have left. It's a lot. I understand a lot of people leave when I talk about cards or pull out cards because they think I'm tampering with the devil. They think the sage is, you know, is pagan and all that stuff. Well, I'm telling you, the Catholic Church does a lot of stuff like that. So, all you need is love. All you need is love. Love is all you need. Okay. So, now is the time that we're going to do some spiritual nourishment. And not everybody has to stay for this. If it's not your cup of tea to say a prayer, that's fine. It's okay. There is no judgment. Absolutely. Everybody, you know, talks to spirit, creator, source of all, God, in their own way, right? But this is where you just hang on, Gracie. She knows that we're coming down to the end here because she's like, okay, it's time to go pee and go to bed and have liver treats. Yeah, you can wait. This is where we drop the walls or the boxes that religion tries to shove us in. You know, you connect to your faith, I will connect to mine. And somewhere across the universe, we will connect hearts and hands where God's divine love light shines. Do you understand? Everything else is just fluff on the furniture. We can agree to reach out our arms and our hearts and connect with each other where God's love light shines. It's that simple, okay? So I'm going to do some deep breathing. You can do some imagery of breathing in crystal clean air, breathing out any kind of foggy sludge that may have accumulated in your spirit this week, in your soul, in your heart. You can breathe in peace and exhale chaos. You can picture breathing in love and exhaling negativity and fear, right? So let's just do that, okay? All right, Linda, take care. Take care, Nat. We'll see you tomorrow night for Freaky Friday. All right. I am a being of love and I release all negative energy. That's a beautiful thing to say, Seashell. Perfect. All right, let's take some deep breaths. Hey, God, creator, spirit, source of everything. Thanks for bringing us together tonight, God. And thanks for helping me wash away the negative emotions I actually came into this talk with tonight. God, Joe's going into surgery tomorrow. Please, please look after her, bring her back to us. And please, God, remind her that she really needs to take care of herself. She cannot kill herself looking after people who don't want to be looked after. She needs to look after herself. God, we're going to sing happy birthday to little Evangeline. And this weekend on Sunday, we lift all our friends up who are having problems with money, family, pain, rejection, neglect, addiction, all of those things that we, deal with on a daily basis. God, we lift all those people up to you so that the light of your love can pour down on them and help them into the light to move forward. And God, lastly, please fill us, God, with the light of your divine love, so strong that as we glow and move forward, it parts the darkness before us and makes us available to shed light for those who are struggling still in the darkness. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for bringing us together for this. And look after our friends. Look after Sherry and Linda's mom and Joe and Joe's husband and all of our friends and family who are struggling. Thank you, God. Amen. Shalom. Namaste. Peace be with you. Merry meet, merry part, blessed be. Miigwech. Walk in the shining light of God's love. Whatever language you use to talk to your faith or your higher power, remember the language you like to be approached in. That's the language of love, isn't it? Right? Now, I've yelled at God a few times in my life, but I'm really lucky because God loves and understands me. And he loves me enough to let me rage, to get that stuff out of my system, and then I calm down and his peace can enter me. We always need to be aware of when we're being negative. It's really important these days for us not to allow that energy to flow into the other negative energy and make it bigger and badder, right? We are it. We are God's army, right? And we walk forward in light and love. And I love you. And don't you ever forget that. You are not just names on a board to me. All right? Take care. God bless. And we will see you Sunday afternoon. Mwah! I love you.